I've built things all my life. Decks, cabins, patios, homes. There's something honest about wood, brick, and steel. They don't pretend to be anything else. You measure, you cut, you build. And what you put in is what you get out. People, unfortunately, don't work the same way. Especially not people who carry clipboards and call themselves president of a homeowners association. This story starts with a plot of land. Mine. 3 wooded acres just outside city limits. Private, quiet, and completely paid off. I bought it with the idea of finally building my dream workshop. Not a house, not a mansion, just a space where I could do what I love. Where no one told me how loud I could be or when I had to mow the lawn. I got the permits, poured the concrete, framed the walls with my own hands, brought and reclaimed barn wood from upstate. Every inch of that site was sweat-earned. Every nail meant something. Then, on a Tuesday morning, a man I had never seen before walked onto the lot like he owned it. He didn't knock, didn't call, just strolled up in khakis and a golf visor, stood with his hands on his hips, and looked around like he was inspecting livestock. "Can I help you?" I asked, setting down my hammer. He squinted. You the contractor? I'm the owner. He didn't smile. Name's Ronald. I'm the HOA president for the Lakeside Ridge development. I blinked. Lakeside Ridge is 2 streets over. He pulled a folded paper from his back pocket. Your property touches the boundary line. That technically places you within enforcement distance. Enforcement of what? Exterior aesthetic compliance, noise control, operational hours. I laughed, not politely. This isn't a commercial lot. It's private land. I don't even have a house here yet. He stepped onto the poured slab like it was a stage. We've received complaints about the noise. Sawing, trucks, nail guns at 7 a.m. I'm allowed to work sunrise to sundown per county law. Well, our community standards are a bit more refined. I crossed my arms. This isn't your community. He smiled the way people do when they're used to winning arguments. I'm just here to make sure everything's neighborly. You can leave. He didn't. Not right away. He walked the perimeter, took pictures, jotted notes, told me I need to submit plans to the architectural committee, told me I'd be hearing from the board. I called my county zoning office that afternoon. They confirmed what I already knew. My permits were valid. My land was outside HOA jurisdiction. And as long as I wasn't dumping toxic waste or throwing keg parties, I was within every legal boundary. But Ronald didn't stop. The next day, I came back to find a bright orange notice duct taped to the front of my framing. Unapproved structure. Cease immediately. HOA zone violation. I pulled it down, took photos, documented everything. Then I installed a security camera. That Friday, I caught Ronald walking onto the site again, this time with 2 men in polo shirts. They walked the lot, pointed at my lumber, and nodded like they were scouting a movie set. I approached, calm but clear. "You're trespassing." Ronald gestured at the camera. "That's a violation. Surveillance without board clearance." I stared. "It's my property. This entire area is considered a visual corridor. Cameras create discomfort for neighboring lots. There's no one here but squirrels. Still, one of the men leaned in. We've decided your shed structure needs to be a neutral tone. It's a barnwood workshop. There's no paint. Well, Ronald said, smiling thinly, then it's non-compliant. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about rules. It was about control. I don't do well with bullies. So I stopped engaging. Instead, I built faster, worked longer hours. Every day, I added something, a beam, a truss, a counter. And every day, Ronald added something too: letters, warnings, complaints. He sent one to the sheriff's department, claiming I was running an illegal business. I invited the deputy to visit. He laughed when he saw the site and said, "We've got real crime to deal with." I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 1 week later, I arrived at my site to find a large green portable fence around the front half of the structure, with a sign, HOA Environmental Buffer Zone, do not enter. I stood there, staring, jaw clenched. He had brought in a temporary fence onto my land to make a point, so I made one back. I called my lawyer, and I got the county surveyor involved. Turns out Ronald's fence was not only on my property, it was 5 feet past the lot line. He had staked it into my concrete. The sheriff came with me that afternoon. Ronald was already there, arms crossed, smug as ever. "This is HOA jurisdiction," he said. The deputy shook his head. "No, sir. This is trespass." Ronald's face turned red. I handed him a cease and desist letter with a little bow. He sputtered something about escalation and non-compliance. The deputy looked at me. "You want to press charges?" I stared at Ronald, saw the crack in his mask, the little glint of panic behind his eyes. "Not yet," I said, "but next time he steps foot here without permission, I will." The fence came down that evening, but I wasn't done. I filed a formal grievance with the county HOA oversight board, attached every photo, every letter, every minute of camera footage. I included witness statements from the deputy and zoning officer. The board reviewed it, and then the hammer dropped. Turns out Ronald had overstepped more than just my property line. He'd been issuing fines to non-HOA residents, misusing funds, and inventing compliance codes that didn't exist. 2 weeks later, I receive an update. Ronald was removed as HOA president indefinitely, and me, I finished my workshop, stained the outside black walnut, hung a handmade sign that read, "Private, not subject to petty tyrants." Neighbors started stopping by. They shook my hand, told me they'd dealt with Ronald for years, that he finally messed with the wrong guy. I don't know about that. I'm not a fighter by nature, but I do believe in foundations, in concrete, in evidence, in standing on ground that you know belongs to you. And sometimes the best way to deal with power-hungry people is to build something stronger right in front of them and never, ever hand them the blueprints.